couple of weeks back, I got a message that I was really happy to see. Do you want to race in Le Mans Virtual 2023? This is the best sim racing event of the year. Until it wasn't. The preparation for this race had all been going pretty well, you know. I got the call up 3 weeks before the race, and in that time I had to get used to R Factor instead of iRacing, which I normally race, and you know, I was feeling decently comfortable. As the race went on the way, we got a clean race start, we got ourselves into the top 20 and the pace was fine. We didn't have any incidents in the first bit of time, kept it clean. You know, all that sort of stuff that you kind of just want to do in the start of an endurance race. The only real issue we had before stuff started going downhill was my teammate just after I got out of the car actually, who had a wheel issue, but I mean his wheel was absolutely fine after. He could drive into the pits, get the car repaired. Anyways, we got the car back to the pits, had about 84 seconds repair I think. Went out on the track again, stuff was fine. We lost like half a lap on it, so that, you know, it is what it is. It's a long race, we could still make that back. Until I was supposed to get in the car and the server just shuts down. Now I wasn't in this server at the time, so I can't exactly tell you whether it just went black screen or what happened, but the server just shut down. People got disconnected and they red flagged the whole race and they had to try and restart the server. Now I remember at the time while they were sorting out the session, the server and the stuff, we got a message from Race Control over TeamSpeak that some team had leaked the information to the public so they could just join the server. And apparently in R Factor, when people join the server as a spectator, the server crashes. Now, when it comes to an event of this size, it shouldn't happen. You know, it can happen once. That's fine, you know, stuff like this happens, but it happened twice right there. It has also happened in the previous years. They should have gotten this under control, at least in my eyes. Anyways, we try to reboot the session again, and guess what? It crashes once again. Now, after this third time, we got a message from Race Control that they were gonna make a completely new session, new passwords, new everything. So the new server goes up, there's a little bit of a warm up. You know, the cars are meant to go running again. We grid up, we get ready. This is where it goes wrong for us. We grid up, George is the one who's supposed to drive. His buttons on his wheel is working, he can click them, he can pit request. So there's not a wheel issue, obviously, but the game is not taking in any of his pedal responses or wheel responses. So he's just parked on the grid, absolutely still standing and can't move. So while the other cars do their formation lap, you know, we get a message from Race Control like, please, can you go ahead and move the car? And of course, with there being some issues somewhere, we couldn't move the car and we ended up getting disqualified.
Welcome to Le Mans Virtual, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, last time I checked, getting disqualified from a race is not really optimal, but you know, we couldn't really do anything about it at that point. We got back to the pits. The race just started with us in the pits, disqualified, laps went by. We tried to message Race Control, but they weren't responding for a couple of laps, maybe because they had so many issues, which is fair enough. But that means we were just sitting in the pits while cars were going around the track. We were losing laps and laps and laps and laps like that. And that was very annoying. But finally we got a hold of the Race Control. They undisqualified us and we were ready. We could go on the track again, but we were a shit ton of laps down. And that's where, you know, your spirit kind of gets ruined because you put in so much practice for a race like this. Anyways, the race goes into the night. We get going again. I get in the car and I really enjoy driving in the night. You know, you just get into your own bubble. There's a lot of grip on the track and it's just very enjoyable driving in the night in general. Anyways, I jump out of the car around midnight. The other guys do their stints while I just relax a bit, and I get in around 3:40 a.m. again or so for really good track temps. And this stint was, I'll be honest, even though we were many laps down, not really fighting for anything, I was actually enjoying just driving these stints just because it's in the night. The track was so grippy at this point, and I just got completely into my own bubble in this stint. So I do my death shift from around 4, a little bit before 4 a.m. to around 6 a.m. And then I go off to bed. And this is where shit starts to go down. The leading car, the #1 red line, this is the car that Max Verstappen is also in, has one of those random disconnects that has been occurring throughout the race to completely random cars. Kind of like a lottery ticket, you know, who's the next to disconnect, and that happens to the #1 leading red line. Now they end up losing about 2 laps for this, and they go to Race Control, ask, can we have our laps back? and Race Control slaps them with a big fat no. And this is where the gold starts to come in. You have probably seen these clips already, but this is Max Verstappen shit-talking R-Factor and the general event.
They can't even like control their own game. And this is already the third time this happens to me now, that I get kicked off the game while doing this race. So it's also the last time I'm ever participating.
At this point, there was just tweets upon tweets and Discord messages shit-talking the general event because people paid money to race in this, and it's like genuinely unfair at this point. You know, like the motorsport game stock hadn't already gone down enough, you now have the whole sim racing community coming at you like a bunch of hungry tigers just ready to eat at all the shit flaws that your fucking game has. All I have to say here is rip and you know, good luck for another time. Anyways, the time does pass and the sun comes up at Le Mans. I'm getting in for the final stint of the race, and once again I actually had a really enjoyable driving experience here. Anyways, we get to the end of my final stint, and with that, the end of the race. Now, crossing the line, I couldn't help but to just be dissatisfied in another way. You know, normally I like finishing an event at Le Mans. Like, Le Mans is what got me into motorsports, and being a part of the official virtual Le Mans race it was great. You know, it's a big spectacle. There's so many people watching this, commentators all over the world who commentate on it, and you know, a good community around it, but I couldn't help to just be dissatisfied crossing the line. Now, I think that this couldn't be said better than the message Max said in the Discord server after the race. I think that FIA, WC really need to reconsider what platform they are hosting this race on, because it's getting to a point where the R-Factor servers, the whatever's going wrong, all the issues, the different issues, is actually hurting the general, not only the view of FIA Endurance World Championship, but also like all of sim racing. Now, for a lot of people, Le Mans Virtual is actually one of the only sim races they watch of the year. So if the commentators keep on speaking it up, you know, they'll think this is the best of the best, you know, all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, what they're actually getting is the anus of sim racing. They really need to do something about this, because this event is a great spectacle. Like, whether FIA cancels the license with R-Factor or R-Factor really does something about this, you know, it's either or. But if they don't do anything about it, I'm certain I won't be participating in another one of these events. I've been Marcus, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.